Hi there, everyone. Welcome along to the SPL Express. I'm Collete Wong alongside Rhysh Roshan Rai. The SPL season is officially over, and we have so much to talk about today. Not just looking back at the weekend's results, we'll also be looking back at the season as a whole, but we will start with those results from match week 27. 10-man Tanjong Pagar United rallied from a goal down to salvage a 1-1 draw against Brunei dpmm. Tampines Rovers closed out the season with a win, their first in 5 games, but they needed stoppage time goals to secure 3 points against Balestier. Albirex Niigata capped off their winning season in style with a convincing 5-0 win over Hougang United. And finally, the Lion City Sailors ended their campaign with a 5th straight win. A strong second-half performance saw them run out 3-1 winners over Geylang International. And this is how the 2023 SPL season finished, with Albirex Niigata sealing their 6th title in 8 years, fairly comfortably by 8 points over LCS. Tampines Rovers put in a tough fight, but fell off the pace late in the season and had to settle for 3rd spot. Balestier Khalsa hit Geylang International in the race for a top 4 finish. Hougang United could do no better than 6th following a poor start to the season. Brunei dpmm secured 7th spot by holding Tanjong Pagar to a draw in their final game, while the Young Lions mustered just 1 win in 24 matches to finish the season in 9th spot on 5 points. This year's top scorer is none other than the Sailors' Maxime Lestienne, who finished with an astounding 25 goals and 21 assists in 24 games. That was 2 goals more than Balestier's Roya Taniguchi, who kept the battle close right till the very end. Last season's Golden Boot winner, Boris Kopitovic, wasn't quite as prolific this year, but 17 goals, not too bad a return for the Tampines striker. So Albirex Niigata have done it again. Roshan, that's 2 titles in 2 years for them, 6 in 8. They're so hard to displace at the top of the table. How would you compare this winning season to the last 2 in 2020 and 2022?
I think this is actually the best Albirex Niigata side we've seen since perhaps 2018, when they actually went through the whole season unbeaten, an invincible season for Albirex Niigata. So I think this side was really controlled. They were really sort of in the element. They had that ability to show consistency throughout the campaign, that bounce back from setbacks like the defeat against Tampines and the defeat to the Lion City Sailors, and then to be very ruthless when they recovered from those defeats, going on winning runs, going on unbeaten runs all the way to the title. And the fact that in the run-in they went something like 13-14 matches unbeaten, so a 7-match winning streak to end the campaign. I mean, it's just really incredible, this Albirex Niigata side, the sort of consistency, the fitness, the quality that they had overall, and quite comfortably winners of the SPL in the end, and deserving winners.
Well, they did dominate towards the end of the season, Albirex Niigata, but this is going to be a very different team next season, because they recently announced that they are going to localize. They will become a local club and will transition from 2024. What does this mean for the club, and what does it mean for the league?
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal for the club. It's a big deal for Singapore football, for the league, for the SPL going forward. It changes the complexion of it all. We've had Albirex Niigata as a dominant side. I think now there'll be a little bit more balance in terms of the title race as well. Albirex Niigata, I think for a long time now, have had this aim in mind to become a local club down the road. And you don't have an academy system, you don't invest to develop players if they're just going to be moving on to another club. So it was always sort of in the pipeline, and they've finally been able to pull the trigger on that, and they want to be participating in AFC competitions as well. So it's going to make things a lot more interesting. I think, like I said, a bit more open in terms of the title race, and hopefully next season we have a bit more of a challenge from the likes of the Lion City Sailors, from Tampines Rovers, and even maybe some of the other clubs, depending on what they do in the transfer window and the months ahead. But yeah, I think it's a nice move for Singapore football going forward. It's an end of an era, a little bit sad about that, but hey, looking forward, nice and positive.
Well, speaking about an end of an era, Tadanari Lee played 2 seasons for Albirex Niigata, brought so much star quality, not just to Albirex, but to the SPL alone. And he's recently announced that he is retiring from the game. I mean, how privileged were we to have him here for 2 seasons?
Really privileged. I mean, he's a massive name. And you think of Tadanari Lee, and where he played in J1, where he played in England with Southampton, with the likes of Urawa, an AFC Champions League winner, Asian Cup winner. So much experience, so much quality from a Japanese international up front. And the fact that they were able to sort of bring him here for a couple of seasons, I think was massive, was huge for the league. And I think big for Albirex Niigata as well in terms of their brand as a club and in terms of, imparting his knowledge, imparting his wisdom. It's a young side. They're able to get a lot from him, in those 2 years, those players that were there with him, whether it was the first batch or the second batch. So I think it's been a real big boost for the league that Tadanari Lee was playing in this competition. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Albirex do actually in that department, because they're going to be a mainly local side in next year's campaign, but they're going to be bringing in Japanese foreign talent, foreign players, and whether it's more experienced players moving away from that, getting players, recruiting players out of university, moving into maybe the professional ranks and trying to get big names if they can. I think I'm excited to see what they can do in that regard, and if they're able to bring in the sort of names that we've seen, not just Tadanari Lee, but Nozawa previously as well, who was the goalkeeper, was also a big name in Japanese football. Players of that quality, I think, will be a really good push, a real good positive for the league going forward.
Okay, let's talk about the teams who finished behind Albirex Niigata. Let's start with the Lion City Sailors. They gave it a really, really good shot this season, but couldn't quite get there in the end. What do LCS have to do differently next season? I
want to see a bit more consistency from the club, I think from top to bottom, right? I think, they've made a lot of changes in the head coaching department. They haven't actually figured out what that role is going to be, who's going to be the man in charge, who's going to be leading them, where's that consistency in that regard, because they have made, they have let head coaches go, they've brought in some and it hasn't quite worked out, and now they have Rankovic in there and it seems like he's doing a good job with the side. They're starting to get into a rhythm of how I think he wants them to play, but you want to see that sort of level of consistency over the course of a campaign, and they should be able to do it because of the quality that they will always have in their squads, the finances that they have. They dwarf like everyone in the league, right? Everyone else. So they're able to get good quality foreigners to come in and good quality local players. Now it's just about putting that together and showing that they can play at a high intensity, try and match what Albirex Niigata were doing this season, for example, and play that intensity and that quality throughout the course of a campaign. That's going to be so important for them if they want to go on and win the title.
How important is it for LCS to hang on to Maxime Lestienne?
Very important. You mentioned earlier 25 goals, 21 assists, complete all-round incredible numbers that he's been putting up. Very important that they keep him because he is far and away the best player in the league. I think he's going to win Player of the Year. I'll be very surprised if he doesn't, and it's a deserved award for him. I would like to see him stick around because he wins games for them, not just with his goals, but with the chances he's able to create. And also, I think, just like Tadanari Lee was with Albirex Niigata, I think the younger players in the Lion City Sailors setup will be able to actually get a lot from the likes of Maxime Lestienne if he sticks around the side.
All right, Tampines Rovers next. They finished in third spot. Looked like serious contenders there for a while. So what's it going to take for them to finish first across the line next season?
Yeah, it's very difficult for them because the club model, compared to, let's say, Albirex, for example, and the quality they were able to bring in, or the Lion City Sailors, financially, again, it's very different. A little bit more of a challenge for Tampines Rovers. So they have a different model, bringing through younger players, talented young Singaporean players coming through, and then they have the good core of foreign players in the squad. I think maybe the lack of experience being in a title race hurt them a little bit. There was also a bit of fatigue. They got injuries at the wrong time. The likes of Zlatkovic was out and that affected the balance of the team. Kopitovic also picked up an injury in one of the games in the closing stages. So they just had a little bit of, I think, bad luck, a little bit of a fade towards the business end of the season. And it's something hopefully they can learn from. But I was really happy for them in the fact that I think they had a good season. I think for the most part, they really gave a lot of us, neutrals watching on a lot of hope that this could be a three-horse title race. So it's very exciting for Singapore football. I feel Tampines Rovers really played their part very well.
Okay, let's talk about the next three clubs. It finished Balestier, Geylang International, Hougang United in mid-table. How surprised were you at the way it finished up in mid-table?
Yeah, I thought Hougang would finish a lot higher than they actually did. So it's been a disappointing season for them. Again, they're a club that really need to go back and think about their prospects moving forward, what they can do to change things around. I don't think they got their signings right with Ferreira, for example, at the start of the campaign. He was a poor one. So I'm expecting a lot of improvement from them because it's been 2 consecutive seasons now where I don't think they've lived up to the expectations. Geylang, 5th, 4th, perhaps was where they were going to end up. That's where I thought they were going to be anyway. So not too surprised there. But Balestier Khalsa, I mean, in 4th place. Congratulations to them. A bit of a strange season in the sense that they conceded so many goals. I think they were like something like the 2nd worst defense in the league. But they were very nice to watch going forward, and you could see what Peter Daru was trying to do with this club in terms of the patterns of play. They were very entertaining. Taniguchi was great. Unfortunately, he's just going to lose out to Lestien, but that he was able to score as many goals that he did was, I think, good for the league as well, and also gave us something to shout about in terms of that race for the Golden Boot. So it made it exciting. Balestier, another side that I've been very impressed with this campaign.
Well, it was lovely to see Brunei dpmm back in the SPL. They finished in 7th spot ahead of Tanjong Pagar and Young Lions. I just want to bring up a question to you about the Young Lions. Is it imperative that something has to change in order to make them more competitive, because they finished with less than 10 points now for a 5th consecutive season? Yeah,
I think so. I think we're all aware, that of the issues with the Young Lions, and not just this season, but there have been a few seasons now where it's been a bit difficult for them. And they've tried to sort of, let's say this season, they brought in Jun Kobayashi, Kan Kobayashi to try and help the side. And maybe, Amiruddin Ashraf came in a little bit later on as well. And maybe that's something that they could look at going forward. I don't have any inside information as to what the policy is going to be. But just from an outsider's perspective, just perhaps getting a couple more senior players in there just to add that experience to the side, maybe give them a little bit more quality, because it's always going to be a side in transition, right? You're going to have players coming in, doing the national service, going out again, and then you have to try and work all of that into it. So it's always going to be a challenge with the Young Lions. But maybe those are some of the things that they could do going forward, bring in a bit more quality, a bit more experience into the side. Let's see what happens with that.
Well, that's a very good wrap of the 2023 SPL season. But, the fun isn't over yet, because we've got the Singapore Cup coming up. Hougang United, of course, the defending champions. Do you think we're going to see a surprise again this year?
I always feel like cup competitions, they throw up a surprise or two. Hougang winning it last year, I think, definitely was a surprise. So there is that possibility. And I think there'll be clubs who will look at their league campaign and think it really wasn't good enough. But here's a fresh opportunity to go on and try and win something. I think Hougang will look at it like that. Again, Tampines will be there wanting to go on and win the cup as well. And I'd say if it's not Albirex or Lion City Sailors winning the competition, then to me that already counts as a surprise, because those two should already be going in as heavy favourites. So I'm really looking forward to the Singapore Cup.
So lots to look forward to over the next few months here in Singapore with the Singapore Cup coming up. That's all the time we have for. Thank you so much for joining us here on SPL Express. Hope you had as much fun as we did. But what we're going to do is we're going to leave you here with the best goals from the SPL season as chosen by Roshan.
Here's Shake from Red. Oh! Shake Hamza. What a strike. Long range effort comes in. Oh my God. Taniguchi from 35, 40 yards.
Aswan inside to Barranco. Andre Barranco.
What a turn that is from Hakimi. Brilliant from him. As he advances, he looks up. Barankov is waiting. He's going to go on his own. And that is a brilliant individual goal from this magnificent youngster. On the ball. Shahiran. Nakamura is going to go for it. It's found its way in. Glorious long-range goal. By the way.
Headed away. Sayugokawa. Center falls to Ryu Hardy. Oh wow!
An absolute pile driver into the top corner of the net.
Mistake there. Chance for Lion City Sailors to break. Lestien, he's got Razak. Just needs the right sort of delivery. Perfect pass into Razak. And an expertly
finish there from the young man for his 6th goal of the season.